Chiefs Kingdom, you won't believe what happened in Super Bowl 59. The team stepped onto the field ready to make history, but walked away with a result no one expected. And if anyone still believed the theory that the NFL favored Kansas City, this game was a brutal wake-up call. Mahomes had a game to forget. The officiating was controversial, and now the front office has already started making moves to turn things around. But does this first move hint at a future without one of the team's biggest stars? Stay tuned. There's a lot happening behind the scenes. Don't forget to like the video, and let's get into it. Well, it looks like the theory that the NFL was scripted to have the Chiefs win again just got completely thrown out the window after Super Bowl 59. The Kansas City Chiefs took the field dreaming of making history, becoming the first team to win 3 straight Super Bowls, but they left with a crushing 40-22 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. And let's be honest, no one saw this blowout coming. It was one of Patrick Mahomes' worst games, and the Eagles dominated from start to finish. Now, with the season officially over, the Chiefs have to face reality. The offense needs serious changes if they want to compete again next year. The offensive line needs reinforcements. Key players are hitting free agency, and the AFC competition is only getting tougher. GM Brett Veach has work to do. The officiating controversy, going back to the narrative that the referees were helping Kansas City, the Super Bowl proved that was pure nonsense. Throughout the season, many accused the league of favoring the Chiefs, claiming the refs were always on their side. But on Sunday, Mahomes and company felt the sting of some highly questionable calls or non-calls. One play in particular stood out in the fourth quarter. DT Milton Williams forced a fumble on Mahomes, and right after Jalen Carter grabbed the QB's face mask with both hands, violently throwing him to the ground. The problem? No flag was thrown. Mike Florio of NBC Sports pointed this out, questioning how Ron Torbert, the head referee, missed the call despite looking directly at the play. According to the NFL rulebook, this kind of play must be penalized even if there's doubt about the severity of the contact. And that was just one more example of why NFL officiating needs major improvements. Florio argued that the league should have a real-time review system where an officiating team member could assist on-field refs using broadcast footage. Sounds like an obvious fix, right? At the end of the day, that missed call didn't change the game's outcome. The Eagles won because they were the superior team. Now, the Chiefs have a long road ahead if they want to get back on top. One thing is clear. The idea that the league wanted Kansas City to win was completely shut down on national television. What's next for the Chiefs? What did you think of this game? Was it just an off night for the Chiefs, or is this a sign that the team needs urgent changes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And speaking of changes, Kansas City has already started reshaping the roster, bringing in a new player who could signal a major shift for the team's future. The season ended painfully for the Kansas City Chiefs, and the franchise has wasted no time making moves for 2025. After the devastating 40-22 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 59, the Chiefs quickly added a new player to their roster, tight end Anthony Firkser, who was signed to the practice squad. At first glance, this may not seem like a major move, but with Travis Kelce entering the final stretch of his career, any addition to the tight end position raises eyebrows. At 35 years old, Kelce is still one of the best in the league, but retirement rumors are gaining momentum. Meanwhile, Kansas City is already preparing for the future. Firkser is no stranger to the NFL. Since entering the league in 2017, he's played for multiple teams, including the Jets, Titans, Falcons, Patriots, and Lions. Interestingly, he already had a brief stint with the Chiefs back in 2017, also on the practice squad. Now he's back for another shot in Kansas City. Throughout his career, Firkser has 115 receptions for 1,207 yards and 5 touchdowns. Solid numbers for a player who has never been a full-time starter but can provide depth at the position. Is Kansas City preparing for life after Kelce? In the Super Bowl, Kelce had a quiet game, catching only 4 passes for 39 yards. During the regular season, he totaled 823 yards and 3 touchdowns on 97 receptions. This move alone won't redefine the franchise, but it's clear that the Chiefs are starting to prepare for a future without Kelsey. And with the offseason just beginning, this certainly won't be the last offensive addition for Patrick Mahomes. This loss was a massive wake-up call for the Chiefs, and the front office is already making moves, but is this signing just a minor adjustment, or is it a sign of even bigger changes ahead? The offseason has only just begun, and Kansas City has some huge decisions to make, so make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay updated on every move your favorite team makes. What happened in Super Bowl 59 was simply unbelievable, and honestly, it hurts to talk about it. Steve Spagnuolo lost his mind on the sideline, Patrick Mahomes played below expectations, and the Philadelphia Eagles simply dominated. The question remains, is there still time for one of those miracles that only the Chiefs can pull off, or will this be the most humiliating defeat of the Mahomes era? Let's analyze everything scene by scene and break down what went so wrong. A nightmare start for Kansas City. From the opening minutes, it was clear that things weren't going well for Kansas City. The offense looked lost. The defense was getting run over, and the Eagles were playing with blood in their eyes. Before we knew it, Philadelphia had scored 24 unanswered points. Meanwhile, the Chiefs' offense seemed stuck, lacking creativity and unable to move the chains. Fans watched in shock as the team played with passivity. Mahomes couldn't find his targets, the offensive line was giving in to pressure, and the mistakes just kept piling up. Fumbles, sacks, and even a disastrous interception completely changed the course of the game. The running game didn't help either. Isaiah Pacheco tried to create space, but the Eagles' defense didn't give him any openings. With every rush attempt, Philadelphia's linebackers were ready to contain the advance. Kansas City needed to react, but what came next only made things worse. Mahomes looked unrecognizable. If there's one thing we rarely see, it's Patrick Mahomes looking uncomfortable, but this time, number 15 looked like an ordinary player. In just 2 quarters of play, Mahomes was sacked 3 times and could barely escape the pocket. When he did manage to throw, his passes were inaccurate, often due to the absurd pressure from the Eagles' defense. The most tragic moment came with a disastrous interception. Trying to connect on a quick pass to Rashee Rice, Mahomes ended up throwing the ball right into the hands of rookie Cooper DeJean, who returned it for a defensive touchdown. Silence fell over the Chiefs fans in the stadium. It was a brutal blow. The confidence Mahomes had always exuded seemed shaken, and the comparisons began on social media. Many were already asking, was this the worst game of Mahomes' career? The defense had no answers. While the offense struggled, the Chiefs' defense also had no answers. Jalen Hurts was playing like a true MVP, finding his targets with ease. In the second quarter, Hurts threw a perfect pass to A.J. Brown in the end zone, further increasing the Eagles' lead. The Chiefs' defensive backs looked lost, allowing easy receptions, and it didn't stop there. At the 1-yard line, Hurts called a QB sneak and ran for another touchdown, a deja vu from Super Bowl 57 when the Eagles ran the same play over and over again. Defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo tried adjustments, but nothing worked. Kansas City simply couldn't stop Philadelphia's explosive offense. Spagnuolo's emotional breakdown. If Chiefs Kingdom was already worried, what came next made the frustration explode. Just when things were looking bad, a defining moment in the first half took place. Steve Spagnuolo's emotional breakdown. It all started with a controversial foul on Nick Bolton, who was called for a personal foul after bringing down Saquon Barkley. The foul gave the Eagles an easy 15 yards, putting even more pressure on the Chiefs' defense. Spagnuolo was furious. He immediately held up 2 fingers, insinuating that a similar play by the Eagles earlier had gone unpunished. The outrage was so great that Spagnuolo shouted an expletive, which was captured on camera. In a moment of pure frustration, he buried his face in his hands, visibly devastated. It was a reflection of what all the fans were feeling: anger, frustration, and disbelief. If things were bad on the field, they were even worse off it. Chiefs fans were unforgiving, and Twitter, or X, was ablaze with criticism of the team. Former players and analysts began speaking out. Robert Griffin III posted, "I've never seen Patrick Mahomes play so poorly." This was just one of many harsh reactions. Other fans started comparing Mahomes to Tom Brady, but not in a positive way, suggesting the Chiefs quarterback was having his worst Super Bowl moment. While some still believed the Chiefs could rally, many had already accepted defeat as inevitable. But if there's one thing we've learned from Kansas City, it's that this team never gives up. Now comes the big question. Is it over for the Chiefs, or is there still hope? If we look back, we know that Mahomes has performed miracles before. In 2020, the Chiefs were down by 10 points in the fourth quarter against the 49ers, yet they still came from behind to win the Super Bowl, but this time, the hole seemed deeper. The offense needed to wake up, the defense needed to stop, and Mahomes had to find his magic again. What did Andy Reid and Mahomes talk about in the locker room? Would they come back for the second half with a different strategy? Now I ask you, Chiefs fans, do you believe in a comeback, or do you think this Super Bowl is already lost? Comment below and let's discuss. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. Let's go, Chiefs. Frustration explodes just when things were already looking bad. A defining moment in the first half sent frustration over the edge. Steve Spagnuolo's emotional breakdown. It all started with a controversial call on Nick Bolton, who was flagged for a personal foul after bringing down Saquon Barkley. The penalty gave the Eagles an easy 15 yards and put even more pressure on the Chiefs' defense. Spagnuolo was furious. He immediately held up two fingers, insinuating that a similar play by the Eagles earlier had gone unpunished. His outrage boiled over and he shouted an expletive that was caught on camera. In a moment of pure frustration, he buried his face in his hands, visibly devastated. It was a reflection of what all Chiefs fans were feeling: anger, frustration, and disbelief. If things were bad on the field, they were just as intense off it. Chiefs fans on Twitter X were relentless with their criticism. Former players and analysts joined the conversation. Robert Griffin III posted, "I've never seen Patrick Mahomes play so poorly." This was just one of many brutal reactions. Some fans compared Mahomes to Tom Brady, but in a negative way, suggesting the Chiefs quarterback was having his worst Super Bowl moment. While a few still believed the Chiefs could rally, many had already accepted the worst. Defeat seemed inevitable, but if there's one thing we know about Kansas City, it's that this team never quits. Now, the big question remains, is this truly the end for the Chiefs, or is there still a chance? Mahomes has pulled off miracles before. In 2020, the Chiefs trailed by 10 points in the fourth quarter against the 49ers, but still managed to win the Super Bowl. However, this time the challenge seemed even greater. The offense needed to come alive, the defense had to step up, and Mahomes needed to rediscover his magic. What did Reid and Mahomes discuss in the locker room? Would they return in the second half with a new strategy? Now I turn to you, Chiefs fans. Do you still believe in a comeback, or is this game already lost? Comment below and let's talk about it. And don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your fellow Chiefs fans. Let's go, Chiefs.